Hey everybody, and welcome back to Living Between Paychecks Kitchen. I'm Oz, Jack later still in Lake Jackson. So again, coming from my little shitty galley kitchen. This one, I don't know how to pronounce it. You saw how it was spelled. You clicked the link. It's basically a strawberry syrup. I've put it in chocolate milk before and it's really good. But you can put it on like toasty croissants, anything else. Just get you a plain donut, boom, makes it magical. This is great. It's also kind of a rudimentary canning procedure here. So that's cool, but you're going to need some jars and stuff beforehand. Before we get into it, be sure to like, share, subscribe to all the YouTube-y stuff. Ring the little bell in that corner, get notifications when we do these as close to Tuesdays and Fridays. Perfect audio cue, guys. And also, there's a link down the doobly-doo for our merch. We got aprons, pots, and not pots, pot holders, fake hands, spoons, spatulas, flippers, that kind of stuff. We're a small business. We very much appreciate it. And let's just get into it, because we're just boiling and making some awesome strawberry syrup. Yeah, strawberry syrup. Let's get into it. All right, super simple thing. You're going to need 2 pounds of strawberries. You got to get them in season. You're going to want the juice of 1 lemon, and then you need 2 pounds of sugar. Now these usually come in 4-pound bags, so like half of it, but that's 4 cups. So, and then your water. You're going to need 1.5 cups of water. My best representation of that, and some jars to put these in. Get the ball ones, but you got to clean and kind of sterilize these before you do any of that kind of stuff. Get the seal lids, whatever. Okay, make sure that they got the seal that'll pop off here. Okay, and show you that seal on the inside. You got to clean it and sterilize. You know, basically just boil the living bejeebles out of it, and don't be touching it with your bare hands. Get you a pot. You're gonna need a spatula. You can get one of our fancy ones. Let's get into it. Let's do that. And a spoon for the thing. A couple of different size pots. Well, we'll get into that as we're going. But as for food stuff, that's what you need. First thing, let's clean our strawberries. We're gonna go scrub these in the sink. Once you get those nice and scrubbed, you need to pull all the green leafy parts out. Now, when you pull that off, it leaves that little green nub in there, right? So get you a knife or just a spoon. I'm gonna show you how to use a spoon, which is not the easiest way to do it. Nice sharp knife, just the end of it. I didn't have any really small ones clean, so you can just do it with a spoon. Just reach and pop that little part out and get rid of that and keep the rest of them. That takes a while, but once you get that done, get your 1.5 cups of water in here and turn it about medium high. You want to bring this to a boil. You want to bring this to a boil. All right, so like I said, 1.5 cups. Do the thing, and then you're going to add 4 cups or 2 pounds of sugar to your water here. Now I'm going to speed it up just because it took forever. I wasn't exact here. You can always do this. Now there is a thing, like later if you're making your syrup, it's not thick enough, you can pull it off and boil it down a little bit more, get rid of the water, get more of the sugar, but that's not a problem here. Just 4, and if it sticks in there because you used it for the water because you're a goofer, just go ahead and use that spatula, just scrape it right out there, just boop, there you go. Now you want to keep this nice and stirred. You want to let that water get down to the bottom. That sugar will block it out and you'll just burn the sugar on the bottom. You don't want to do that. So you're going to let this cook up till it starts boiling, right? So just keep it, doesn't have to be a steady like stir, like you got to do the entire time, but let it start boiling. Once it starts to boil, you don't want it popping, you don't want it boiling over. So if it gets too hot and it starts getting too crazy, turn it down a little bit, okay? So you want to do that. You want to let it boil for right at 15 minutes is what the recipe says. So just let it sit there and cook. Once it's down and done that, you want to, like I said, if it's boiling over, turn it down. But you want to get it nice and boiling and then let it sit for 15 minutes. I give it a little stir every now and then just in case. But I didn't want it to just stay on the bottom. But if it's rolling like that, it's going to move it around. So go ahead and add your strawberries. Be nice and gentle with it. This stuff is very hot. You're going to splash this up on yourself. So I always just put the first couple of them in by hand, and then you can kind of dump the rest of the top on there. Now I was worried that I had too many strawberries here because it didn't fit. So I just mashed them all in. Make sure they're coated a little bit. Now you want to let this come back to a boil. Okay. Make sure it's boiling or bubbling on the entire thing. Okay. It's just going to boil a little bit on one side here. Like mine, it's an electric stove, so it just kind of cooks on one side. You see where it's closest to the side here, the camera, that boils a lot faster than the outside. So give it a little stir, make sure it's doing the whole thing, and let it turn it down to low, and then let it do that boil stuff for about 10 minutes, okay? I gave it a little stir every now and then, mostly because I was worried because some of them were poking out, but it's not too bad. It's like every 2-3 minutes, just give it a little stir, a little push over, and push all the rest of the stuff back down into the sugar syrup. So once you get that, you're ready to start jarring the stuff. Now, why don't you start doing that? You get you a pot, and you want a pot that's got that's big enough to put a little bit of water over your lid. So this one's not going to fit, so I need to get a bigger one. Ooh, focus all over the place. You basically just want a little bit, like 1/2 inch of water over the top of your lid. So that's what that big pot's for. So I started warming that up, and I'll get to that later. So once it's been sitting there for 10 minutes, go ahead and
kill your heat, get the label off your lemon, cut it in half, and then squeeze all of the juice that you can from that lemon into this stuff here. Try to get the seeds if you can. If not, I mean, you just get a spoon here, or if not, because they're going to stay on top of the syrup, just go ahead and put them in there and then pull them out, or you can leave them in there. I mean, I think it leaves a little bit of a bitter taste, but that's completely up to you and how you want to do it. So just go ahead and do the juice of one lemon here. Again, like I said, I just keep spotting where these are. Apparently you can do it through a cheesecloth, but because cloth is absorbent, I always fear that I'm losing too much actual juice or liquid to that. Put that lemon juice in there, give it a nice good stir. Make sure your water in your big pot is starting to warm up a little bit, or just let everything cool. There's two ways to do it, okay? So once you got it done there, you got it all stirred in, just go ahead and put it into your jars here. Now, I try to do about half fruit, half syrup in these. I was worried because I didn't think I had enough strawberries, or I had too many, and then I feel like I didn't have enough. So I didn't fill it completely with strawberries, did about half, and then syrup, because the syrup's a big part you want. The strawberry itself is different. So when you're going to put it into these things to try to seal them, whatever, you want to get as much of that as you can, fill that up. So I did 3 full that are half and half, and then one that's just half syrup, okay? So once you get that, you can either let those cool off and then start the water off just all cool, or you keep those warm, but make sure your water is getting nice and warm too. If one's cold, you put it in it, and the other one's hot, it's going to pop, it's going to shatter, it's going to be a horrible fucking day, and you're going to lose food. So put your seal on the top. Be careful these are still warm. Put them tight, but not like, a gorilla came in there and just tightened it down, because the air can't get in. So what you're going to do is it's going to put it in here. It's going to be very warm. The water is going to be warm. It's going to boil it up to where it's going to bubble out from the lid, blow the air out, and not let the water back in, and then when it cools off, it'll seal it down, because it needs to replace that air that got blown out. So you get it in here. You're gonna need a couple of sets of tongs. Don't just stick your freaking hand in it. I learned the hard way. Also be careful with the water thing. It didn't look like it was quite empty enough, or quite full enough to actually cover these, but I put 3 in here. It was really close, and I had that fourth that was only half syrup that I'm going to use for like milks and stuff here relatively quickly, that I didn't need to seal. So once you put that fourth one in, loop right over the top, almost perfect, right? So it's a lot easier than just adding cool water, because you don't want to like shock one with the other. You don't want to put cold water in there. So if you're going to add water, add it hot. I let it sit in there at about medium high until the bubbles started coming around. It was really hard to focus on this because of the steam coming out, so I apologize. The bubbles will come out underneath the lid. Once you start seeing less and less bubbles, go ahead and kill the water, and you can let it cool while they're sitting in there, or pull them out and sit next to them, and then let them cool off before you put them in the fridge. Again, you don't want to shock these. So that's it. Pull them out, let them cool on the countertop, then put them in the fridge. Just keep them in the fridge, and you're set. I'm going to put my name and the date on these. Put them on waffles, pancakes, biscuits are great, scones, whatever. Again, I'd love to try this with some other vegetables and stuff. I was just looking for jams and jellies the other day, and this recipe popped up. It'd be great to keep it like in fridge at work or whatever. If you could come across somebody that's being cheap with the donuts or whatever, you can hit them up with a little bit of this, add it to any kind of dessert, put it on your ice cream, whatever. But it looks good, it smells amazing, and it tastes even better. So yeah, you gotta try this one out. And if you do any kind of other fruits, man, let me know. I'm willing to try them.
And there you have it, folks. Now, how cool is that? It's something, just keep it in your fridge. You also, like I said, you don't have to do all the canning part, man. If you just want to use it in the next couple of weeks, keep it in the fridge and keep it sealed, and you're good. If you do it differently, you do different flavors of syrup, different fruits, let me know. I expected to have to slice those up, but they're just whole ass strawberries, which I very much appreciate. So that's very cool. But let me know. Put it down in the comments. That's what they're there for. You can also find me on social media, Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon, with all those at Live Between Paychecks Kitchen. We're also on Instagram, Live Between. We're headed to shorten it down over there. And me, Osby Nerdy, I'm on all those, including TikTok, usually talking action figure stuff, doing reviews over there, or Twitter, again, just action figures and miniatures. And on my Instagram, it's just mostly just like the LARPing stuff that I do, and painting miniatures. So check me out across the board. I do a lot of weird nerdy stuff, tattoos and everything. So come find me, let me know. Jack's on most of those as well. Check out all his stuff. He's a big time gamer. So I always want to do it, like a sit down like podcast with him. We said just talk nerd stuff. If that's something that interests you, let us know. Put it down there too. I will see you all next time. Enjoy the food, and please be safe. Okay.